Welcome to Slackin' Off with Brady Slack.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Slackin' Off. I'm your host, Brady Slack, and today we have someone who I'm excited to talk to. One, we haven't known each other that long. We're in a men's coaching group together, and I feel like he's going to provide a lot of value for our listeners. He's also a part of a group that I think a lot of people need to pay attention to and maybe start to implement some of the things that they do. But without further ado, thank you for being on the show, Justin.
Absolutely my pleasure, man. I'm excited to be here and see where this conversation goes.
Who knows where it's going to go, but I'm excited to see where it does too. So tell me, our connection, for those who may be in the background, our connection comes through a mutual friend, Cody Jefferson. Cody has been a guest on the podcast. He hosts a men's coaching group. He's got an incredible Facebook group with over 4,000 members, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit because that's kind of what you guys do anyways. But tell me how you got connected with Cody and what drew you to kind of this coaching atmosphere or self-development, if you will.
Yeah, so for me, the first connection I had with Cody was in July of 2022. He came out to speak at one of our events as one of our guest speakers. And the reason why we asked him to come out is because my business partners and I, we were part of Powerhouse Mastermind, which Cody is affiliated with, right? He helps them build, put on their events and everything. So my business partners had been in an event where he had been, and they really were inspired by him. They really resonated with his message and what he had to say. So whenever it was time to determine who we wanted to bring in as a guest speaker for our event, he was someone that was definitely top of list. So we asked him to come out. And what's really cool with Cody is that I'm the MC for our events. So whenever he got to the venue, I introduced myself and I was like, hey, I'm Justin. I'm the one who MCs the event, and I'm going to be the one who's actually introducing you to our audience. So I would love to just, have a sidebar conversation, just kind of get to know you a little bit, get to know your vibe, what you're all about, just so that my introduction is genuine. Because I really, truly pride myself on how I introduce speakers at our events. I don't just tell a name, like I tell a story, and then I say the name of who it is. So we got to talking, and we just really, really connected right out of the gate, Cody and I. And so much so that he was like, dude, are you game to like scrap what I had in mind and just like come up on stage with me and do like a podcast style conversation in front of your audience? He's like, you're the client success director. You oversee all of your clientele. You know best what they need, and you can have a little bit of control about like what we discuss during that conversation. It'll really hit home for them, and it's exactly what they need to hear. So that's what we did. So me and him, we did like a conversation in front of the entire audience at our live event, and we had great feedback. People really, really resonated with what we were discussing, and then we just exchanged contact information from there. And what really did it is the week after we left that event, I was back home, he was back home. I texted him and I asked him for his shipping address. And Cody Jefferson, I'm sure if he's been on the show, you kind of know he's a special breed. He's a very dialed in human being, including the area of fitness. And I was looking for somebody to push me even further in my fitness. So what I did is I shipped him a MyZone heart rate monitor, which we all use now in the coaching group. I shipped him one of those as a gift with a little letter that just said "Game On." So adding a little bit of competition pushed us both to go beyond where we had ever been with our fitness and like pushing our bodies. But also what it is, it truly started to create a bond and a relationship. And he's someone now that I can truly call as one of my closest friends. We're basically like brothers. We talk every single day.
Yeah, no, Cody is a special breed, and he's someone that I've grown close to and also would consider a friend. So that's funny. I didn't know that you introduced him to the MyZone thing. That I love the MyZone. Makes me want to work a little bit harder when I see you chumps working out, and I'm like, shoot, I could do better than that. So that's what I've got to do.
Yeah, and just for context, for anyone who's listening, just the MyZone, what it does, it's a heart rate monitor that you wear around your chest when you're doing anything physical activity. And what it does is it keeps track of your heart rate, it keeps track of your calories burnt, and it also assigns what are called MEPs, which are maximum effort points. So based on where your heart rate is and what zone you're currently operating in, it assigns so many points per minute. And then at the end of a workout, you have your cumulative total, and we have a leaderboard of all the guys that are in this coaching group. and how many points we have. And it adds an element of competition. And I truly believe that will accelerate exponentially the results that everyone sees.
I remember when I first got in the group, and there was a couple of guys who, mind you, I came into this thinking, okay, I need more consistency. And so I get into the group and I get my MEP counter and so my zone, and I'm looking at these MEPs, these points that everyone's getting, and I'm thinking, God, who's this Justin guy? He is crushing his points. And this is one thing that I want to highlight because I think it's very important. You'll laugh after this, but I think it's funny. Cody says to me, dude, don't worry about Justin. He's like a professional hockey player in the beer league, right? So he goes and he wears his my zone while he plays hockey, and I'm thinking, oh geez, that I would get that many points too if I played hockey. So anyways, yeah. Justin, if we learn nothing else about this podcast, Justin is a professional hockey player of the beer league. That's exactly what I wanted to highlight.
I actually have that on my Facebook profile, Beer League Hockey Pro.
That's awesome.
So, hey, you know what? I had some guys hitting me up whenever they were first joining, and they were seeing some of the points that I was putting up on the board.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? So like, I'm someone who I walk every single morning. I am in the gym like 5 to 6 days a week doing like the traditional workouts. And I also play hockey like 2 to 3 times a week as well. And you know, I get a kick out of Cody saying, don't worry about Justin because he does that. But really, like, I do that. Like I go, like I have to get there. I have to do the work. I'm still executing, right?
Yeah.
So even though I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it, it's still putting in work, Cody.
Oh yeah.
Just so we know.
Don't worry about Justin. He's just playing beer league hockey on a Thursday night. That's funny. So, okay, we kind of highlighted a little bit about like the group coaching, and this is, I want to segue into this because I want to hit hard on this, especially with things that are going on in the economy. I've listened to some reports. There's hesitancy in the markets. You're from Canada. I'm not going to speak on what is in Canada. I'm just going to speak on here in the United States because I know sometimes those economies don't go hand in hand, although there is some synchronization. But I want to dive into what you do, which is you are the director for client success and a partner with clients and communities. Okay, can you please explain for the listener what is clients and community and what is the purpose of clients and community?
So Clients and Community is a coaching program that we've developed over the past 3 to 4 years, which is where we help online high-ticket coaches, consultants, course creators, businesses. I mean, as of late, we've gotten some like interior design professionals. We've gotten some like contracting professionals. It's just really cool. And essentially what we do is we help you grow what you're already doing by using Facebook groups specifically. So we teach people how to start, grow, and monetize Facebook groups. So essentially, we get people to build an audience around them, what they do, how they help people. And that audience is incredibly powerful because whenever you put out content, you know, it hits and it creates that temporary little belief in the listener or that like new perspective for the listener. But then what happens is that they probably continue just with their daily lives and then they forget about that thing. Time elapses. But whenever you can build an audience where they're in your world in a constant state, where they're in your Facebook group and you're consistent inside of that Facebook group, providing content, helping them, you know, with a new tool that they can go and implement in their life right now that they can start seeing some results with. What that does is it starts to build the know, like, and trust with your audience, where if they stick around long enough and they see how consistent you are and the value that you provide them, there's just going to be zero doubt in that person's mind that whenever they're ready to go and get that next level of help, you're the person that they're going to go and see for it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so over the last like 3.5 years, we've worked with well over 1,000 clients, and we've helped our clients generate over $100 million using Facebook groups specifically.
Why Facebook groups specifically? Like what would be the difference between growing a following on Instagram or TikTok or monetizing some of those other platforms, maybe like YouTube? Why Facebook groups specifically?
Well, Facebook groups specifically is what we actually just kind of ran into back in like 2019.
Okay.
It was a Facebook group that my business partners had started back then, which was basically, it was just creating an ecosystem for their affiliate marketing. at the time. And they really started seeing the power of a Facebook group. And they were like, wow, like we need to really like lean into this here and go and like really explore this to go and see everything that's possible. So that's why like we've just become like the Facebook group guys. Like whenever
Okay.
Facebook groups pop in the mind, so do clients and community. So do we. That being said, we have a variety of clients that will come in, and on top of just their Facebook group, they are able to apply some of what we teach in terms of strategy inside of that audience. They can go and apply that to LinkedIn. They can apply that to Instagram. They can apply that to other places, and it'll still work. But what really sets us apart is we teach how to grow specifically your Facebook group with our methodology, where we don't have like a specific strategy to grow your Instagram. We don't have a specific strategy to grow your YouTube channel. We have really honed in and developed a world-class strategy on how to grow your Facebook group with a targeted audience every single day, and how to get hands raised in that audience every single day, where you are being chased rather than going to chase to start conversations and book calls.
Okay, so it's really not a logistical or some sort of metric. It's just kind of what you guys fell into.
It's what we fell into in the beginning, but there's also some things that you can do inside a Facebook group that you simply just can't do in other places. So for example, in your Facebook group, whenever you have a private Facebook group, you put the setting to private. People must answer membership questions in order to get into your Facebook group. I'm sure you've seen it.
Sure.
Those membership questions are a big piece of the strategy that we teach our clients. They are deeply integrated into the entire process. It's a very small piece of the process, but it's an integral piece of the process.
Okay.
Whenever you have an
Maybe
Instagram follow,
maybe like pre-qualifiers to what you're going to be doing within the Facebook group anyways.
yeah, exactly. Pre-qualifiers, way to like acquire information, that type of stuff. But like, for example, if you go and run our strategy on Instagram, you can grow a following. There's no question option.
Okay, that makes sense. So in clients and community, let's talk about this for just a second. You're taking what industries have you guys found the most success in when you are using these strategies for? Because this is more geared to someone who wants to use their knowledge and become more of a consultant or a coach within their respective space. Am I right?
Yes. So we aim to work with like established, not somebody that has the aspiration to become, and more so somebody who is, and they're looking to scale what they've already got in place.
Okay. What so let's highlight that really quick. Why the difference between what would be the benefit for someone who already has a following versus maybe why is it not a good fit for someone who would like to obtain a following?
So no, we're working with coaches that have an established offer, where they've already been offering their offer, they've sold it, they're delivering on it, they're established in that sense. Whenever it comes to the following, we have people that come in and they've got a massive following of already qualified people, and we teach them how to funnel all of those marketing assets from all different places into their Facebook group. We teach them how to do that exactly. Then we have other people that come in and they've literally got like a Facebook profile and it's friends and family, and they don't really have any true like qualified people that would be interested in joining their program. Those people, we kind of switch up the way that they go through the program, and we get them to go, to start with like paid ads or organic growth strategies for their Facebook group right out of the gate, rather than like funneling audiences from other places into their group. So whenever we are onboarding, my team of coaches, they probe, they ask the key questions of like, do you have marketing assets? If so, where? YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then they kind of help that person put a roadmap together of how to go through our program based on where they're at and what they need now.
Okay, that makes sense. I saw a question yesterday, and I'd like to jam on this for a second because I think it would highlight really well for some people. In the last year and a half, 2 years, we went through what they called the Great Resignation. COVID happened, everyone had to work from home, and they were looking for all these side hustles to be able to do to maybe supplement income or just leave their jobs altogether, right? And I saw a question yesterday that I thought was kind of interesting, and I'd love to jam on this for a second. Someone had asked a really good friend of mine in one of those anonymous questions on Instagram. He said, if you had to start over, would you start with a product or would you start with a service, and why? Now, the response that this friend gave, mind you, his businesses are making well over $100 million a year. This friend said, I would start with a service, and then on the back end, tack on a product that you can then upsell. What are your thoughts on that? Or I guess what are some successes that you've seen within clients and community to highlight that response?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we're talking a product or a service, we're talking two very, very different worlds with two very, very different skill sets, two very different logistical obstacles that you need to get through. So for me, that's like, it's like you're gonna have to pick what world do you want to operate in. Do you want to operate in like designing a product, having that product manufactured, having that product shipped out, that world? Or do you want to build a coaching program where you are providing people with the knowledge you've got in here and in here to go and transform other areas in their life specifically? So it's like, what are you looking to accomplish? Are you looking to have an impact in people's lives at a level where they're transforming? Or are you looking to have an impact in people's lives where you're providing them a product that they need and will improve them, or a product that they want and will provide fun in their life or enjoyment in their life? It really boils down to like what that true core desire is. What do you want to do? What are you looking to accomplish? Are you looking to make a bunch of money and you don't really care about impact? Or are you looking to make impact, you don't really care about the money? Or are you looking for impact and money? And for me, if you're looking for impact and money, I think coaching and putting together information that you've got in you from your life experience, from your unique perspectives, from everything that you've got in your life up until this point, and you package that up in a way that people can tap into it and start implementing what you've already been implementing in your life and transform theirs. I think that is probably the top way to make really good money and also create a massive amount of impact on those around you. Like the coaching industry is a true ripple effect in motion at all times. Like we have a company that teaches people how to scale their Facebook groups and generate clients. Whereas, if we're teaching someone who is in the relationship niche how to do that, they grow their audience, they get people into their lives, and then they have more people that they're working with, couples that they're teaching how to improve their relationships. That relationship improves. The children of that relationship are seeing their parents operate in a whole new way, in a flourishing way. They become great role models for the children. The children are going to, grow up and probably replicate that. So like in the world of coaching, you can simply speak your truth and share your knowledge, and you can have that like multiple layer ripple effect on with every single person you serve. So if that's what you're chasing after, then like putting together a service, an info product, and a coaching program and packaging it up in a way where you can have that impact is probably going to be the route you want to go. If you're just looking to make money, like I don't know if you saw this yesterday on Instagram, there was somebody selling garden gnomes doing like 13 million a year.
Garden gnomes?
Garden gnomes.
That's awesome.
Okay, like there's zero impact happening there, but there's a bunch of money being made. Like if that sounds like what you want, then you'll probably want to go with, something like that. But for me, I'm a man of impact. I love to have an impact on others. I feel it's almost like an addictive drug. It's like I can't get enough of it. Whenever I have an impact on someone, it feels incredible. And I just want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So I feel like I'm in the perfect spot in my career to be able to do that at a high level, where I build our programs that we deliver to our clients. I build those programs. I build the structures. I determine the client experience. And then I lead the team that delivers that experience to our clients.
Okay. Take a note. Justin doesn't want to sell garden gnomes.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah, maybe you'll add it on. So highlight this. This has been a somewhat consistent theme in a lot of the different podcast episodes I've had thus far. What have you ever come across? Coaching is somewhat taboo. Like, let's just call it for what it is. There are people who say they are coaches whose offer is not good, or they don't have the certain experiences to be able to provide or lead someone to obtain a success that an individual might be looking for, right? So how, I guess, in your mind, what would qualify someone to be in the position to coach someone? Or what is the difference between maybe someone who is a good coach and a bad coach?
Well, I'm a strong believer, and this is something that I heard recently that I resonated with at a very high level. And I've always operated in this way because I've always said I will take advice from somebody that has a result that I seek to have in my own life. So like Cody Jefferson, he is someone that I take his words with a lot of weight because he lives a life that I aspire to have. He is a result that I aspire to have. So that's someone that I look up to, that I will listen and tune into. And I think he is absolutely 100% legit. He has created the results in all those areas of his life. So what I heard the other day was, you are most qualified to help the person that you used to be. And that really resonated with me at a high level. So if you're somebody that has this desire to go and coach other people, don't go and coach something that you've never done before. Don't go and coach a theory that you've read in a book that you think you've read it and then now you're an expert at it because you read it in a book. Go and coach something that you have physically yourself or mentally, spiritually gone through yourself, because we are all most qualified to help the person that we used to be. That comes from Ed Milet. I heard that just the other day at his event. And it's so true. And the reason why I think coaching can have that taboo or that stigma is because there's a lot of people that are out there coaching theory that they've read in a book that they've never implemented themselves, or they're coaching in something completely out of alignment with what their background is and who they used to be. So for me, I worked in customer service basically my entire adult life, besides 3 years where I was a police dispatcher, where that was kind of a different world. I was in law enforcement and policing. But other than that, I was always in customer service. And right now, what I do is in one shape, it's basically customer service, except it's a proactive approach. My entire working career up until this point had been in a reactive state where I was working, in the government offices. People were coming to us. We were absorbing what they needed help with and delivering. Now, what I do for a living is essentially the same thing, but it's reversed, where I build proactively the experience that our clients are going to live through, and it's going to serve them. It's just, we're not waiting for them to react to something. We're proactively building that thing and delivering it to them to be world class. So through all of my jobs up until I got into this role, with all of the studying and the implementation of those principles that I've been putting in for the last 5+ years, whenever I teach our clients how to create a coaching program that creates results, how to piece together a client experience that wows your clients and breaks their expectations in a positive light, I feel 100% that I am in a position to teach those things because that's what my entire background is, and that's who I used to be.
Sure.
If I was to go and teach on discipline, for example, and how to master it and how to change your whole life using the one word of discipline, I would feel completely like I have what it takes to teach that, because I used to be 65 pounds heavier. I used to be broke with no motivation, no goals. I would literally go to work 8 to 4, come home, have dinner, and sit on the couch till bedtime. That's who I used to be. And I have been through a massive journey in basically all facets of my life, physically, mentally, with my relationships, spiritually, financially. Everything has radically changed in my life because of this one thing that I mastered called discipline. So I could teach on discipline right now and I would feel 100% in control at the driver's seat in the wheel because I've been there. That's who I used to be. But if you asked me to go and coach a program on spirituality, I'm not in a position to do that. I'm just not in a position to do that. And I would feel like fraud doing it. And I think that that's what the taboo has come from, is people that are the disciplined person teaching spirituality when they really shouldn't be.
And do you think it's because people, they look at others who are in a coaching position with a solid offer that are making a lot of money, and they see, oh, I can make a lot of money doing it? Or is it, I think that's part of it, but I would hope that the greater majority of the reason for people wanting to go coach is they want to impact other people's lives. I would hope that's what it is.
Yeah, honestly, I do think it's a mix of both. I do think that there's that comparison effect. People see someone doing something specific and super successful at it, and they're like, oh, I want to go and do that because I want to make that amount of money too. And you're like, you know what? I'll be able to change lives in the meantime. I do think that there's genuine desire for people. Like for me, if I was to go and coach spirituality right now, my intent and desire for sure would be to go and help that person become better. But I don't have what it takes. I just don't have it.
So there, like I highlighted before when we just briefly spoke about the economies, there's a reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you, Justin, because typically what happens when there is an economic downturn is there are individuals who have had certain experiences that have a value or a knowledge base that allows them to help other individuals. And when there is an economic downturn, people are more apt to look for opportunities that will increase their monetary income because things are hard. They might lose a job. The stock market's down. The values of their homes are lower. And so they want to be able to increase their monetary efficiency. And so coaching or consulting is kind of that segue for individuals who are already seeking value. They're already seeking opportunities to increase their wealth, or they're already seeking knowledge. For others who might already be thought leaders or those who have a value to provide, for them to make money off of that value exchange. And so I wanted to have this conversation so that listeners, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of concerns, there's a lot of kind of hesitancy with where the markets are going right now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have the conversation so that we could highlight why people or how people could get into this space and create some sort of offer. Any thoughts or ideas on what maybe an individual could do if they feel like they do have that value or those experiences to create an offer? What's one of the maybe 2 or 3 of the most simple ways to create that offer?
Yeah. So number one, I strongly believe that every person on this planet has something that they can offer to others that will be of value, even including a bum on the street. You might think, Justin, we're talking about a bum on the street. What is he going to teach me? He can teach you what not to do, very likely. He can teach you his path of how he got there. And if that's not what you want, how to avoid getting there, what not to do. I strongly believe that we are all incredible human beings with all of our own life experiences, backgrounds, perspectives, and we all have something of value to others, regardless what it is. And coaching is a really great way to take that and put it in front of people and start creating that impact. I think if you're somebody that has never been in the coaching space and right now, you're like Brady just said, the value of everything is going down and you're looking to escalate the monetary efficiency, coaching is a way that you can do so. And the beautiful thing is in coaching versus starting like a brick and mortar business, the startup costs and the overhead costs for continual operations are typically significantly lower than if you were to go and start a business with a product in a store where you're selling stuff, where you've got rent or lease and the inventory that you're holding and you need to sell to make the profit. And it's a very different game. It's a very different model. So coaching, in my opinion, is a very good way to get into the world of entrepreneurship because of those aspects. Also, if you're somebody that has a desire to coach and you're thinking of doing it, the number one thing that you need to figure out is who am I going to serve and what am I going to teach? Unless you have clarity on that, you cannot move forward with the coaching and the building of the program or whatever, because it's all going to be irrelevant if you haven't really dialed in and put your finger on who am I going to serve, who am I going to help, and how am I going to do so. So I would prompt you to take a piece of paper and a pen and just start writing things about your life. What are some obstacles that you have come up to in your life where there's a wall there? And what did you do to get through it or over it? How did you overcome all those obstacles? And you might be sitting there going, I've never really had obstacles. We have all had obstacles. We have all had obstacles in our lives. We just need to reflect on it a little bit. And you put together those obstacles and the way that you overcame those obstacles. And just the way that you overcame an obstacle might blow somebody else's mind on how you did it because they never would have thought of it that way or they never would have approached a situation that way. And then they learn that way from you, and then they encounter it in their life, and they do it your way, and they save stress, time, frustration, money. Who knows? So I would say put together all the obstacles that you have overcame, which is like one aspect of it. And then I would also put a list of like, what are you incredibly good at? Like, what is something that you consider yourself good at and why? And like, what background and experience you have to back that skill up? And then it's like combination of skill and obstacles you've overcame. You put that together and you're teaching people how to reach their goals that they wish to have and how to solve the problems that they currently have. And essentially, that's what coaching is. You're either helping someone accomplish a goal that they have a desire to accomplish, or you're helping somebody solve a problem that they're currently facing in their life.
And it's interesting because there are so many avenues, and I think people oftentimes will try and dive into something that they've experienced that's really, really, really hard. And I don't even know that people need to go that deep into it. I mean, it's not that hard. You might be a really good coder. Well, why don't you put together a course that teaches people how to code? Or you might be a really great mom. Why don't you teach other moms how to be really great moms, and then create the offer around that, or a group, and provide the value, and then create the offering, right?
Yeah, we have somebody that was doing, 50,000 plus a month over month, literally teaching horseback riding.
They're making over $500,000 a year just by teaching horseback riding.
Horseback riding.
What is that? The weirdest thing? Is that the weirdest coaching program that you've had come through clients and community? You made that comment. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah,
What's the weirdest offer that you've had come through clients and community?
I mean, we've served so many different niches. It's hard to keep track. Like we've had some like sexuality coaches that like literally teach people how to get in tune with their sexuality and how to become more intimate with their partner. We've had dating coaches, relationship coaches. We've had counselors, therapists. We've had real estate. Like, man, you name it, we've served it. Like, seriously. And that's the beauty of our program is it's not niche specific. We're teaching you a methodology that you can apply to simply grow an audience around whatever it is you're teaching. So whatever you're teaching is kind of irrelevant to us in terms of can we help you, yes or no. We're teaching you a process on how to build an audience around what you have to offer, regardless what it is.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, you mentioned relationship coaching. Tell me a little bit about your relationship, because I actually based on the interactions we've had, some of the conversations we've had within our group, I appreciate your willingness to work on your relationship with your spouse. Tell me why is that important to you, or what are some things that you do? And I know this is a complete 180 from what we were just barely talking about, but that's something I want to talk to you about, because you do a really good job at, and probably something I could improve on.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to disagree with you that we're doing a complete 180, because I think the relationship that you have, and if it's thriving, will directly correlate with what you're able to accomplish in business.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Like if you look at someone that is in a relationship that's thriving, there's mutual love, mutual respect, mutual gratitude for one another, and there's support. The person that has those big dreams is going to be way more likely to get there and way quicker to get there if there's that level of support, versus a relationship where there's somebody that has big dreams and they want to go and accomplish it, and there's that friction from the spouse, where there's no belief, there's a lack of support. So I think that the relationship that you've cultivated and built intentionally with your spouse will directly correlate with what you're able to accomplish in business and other areas of life. Well, we're talking business right now. I truly think that those two are directly correlated. And for me, whenever I think of my relationship with my wife, the one word that comes to mind is intention. Whenever, we've always had a pretty cool and great thriving relationship, but whenever we had our first daughter, okay, she's almost 7 now. So this is something that I've been thinking about for 7 years, is I did not want to lose the amazing bond and connection and spark that we had in our relationship. And I made sure to be very, very intentional about making sure that we don't lose that. So like, I mean, we talk about it in our men's coaching group with Cody, but like having date nights. I always make sure that we have date nights. And one of the things that struck me back when I was in corporate was I had a boss that had a 9-year-old and then like 2 other children. And she told me that they had not spent a night away, just her and her husband, since the oldest was born. So they had not had a night away, just them two, to be themselves as a couple in 9 years. And it absolutely blew my mind. I mean, some people, they think like we have children and then like I'll see you in 18 years, we'll rekindle them. And I am not that person. I am not that
Yeah.
person. So for me, the relationship with my wife is at the top of the priority list. And I would say, and this, you know, some people might disagree. I say it is actually on top of the list, even including father and mother. And the reason why is because I think if you're not concentrating on your relationship, it will actually affect your ability to mother and father your children at the best of your ability. If you have a relationship that is thriving and it's a role model relationship for your children, you're actually serving them even more than if you concentrated on them all the time and didn't concentrate on your relationship at all. So for me, like we will intentionally do like little weekend getaways or even just an overnight thing where we'll go to the spa for the whole day. We'll stay at the hotel at the spa, and then we'll come back. And what it does, it's a pattern interrupt, right? We all live these lives basically look very similar day over day over day. You know, for me, it's like the walk in the morning, get back, wake up the children, we get them, you know, dressed, fed, we have breakfast, we hang out, put them on the bus. I go to the gym, I come back, I get into work, we work, kids get home, we do dinner. You know, the days are pretty similar to one another. And I'm a big believer that a great way to increase the appreciation that you have of those days is to have a pattern interrupt in those days. So whenever we go and we take off for the night or whatever, yes, we miss the children. But you know what? At that point in time, we are focusing on ourselves. You know, our identity is not mom and dad in those moments. Our identity is lover and lover, husband and wife. And you get to tune into yourself personally too. So for me, whenever we do that, basically what it is, it's a pattern interrupt where we go back after that day where it was a completely different day than usual. You know, it was quiet, it was peaceful. We were in a spa, we got, you know, pampered, we got massages, nice dinner, whatever. Completely different than the normal day at home with our children.
Yeah.
But whenever you get back the next day to that normal day with your children, you appreciate it even more because you missed it the day before.
It's funny. You said the word intent or intention. We talked about kind of the coaching or the consulting and how someone can create that value or that offer. I saw something not too long ago where it was like, marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your hard. Work is hard, being unemployed is hard, choose your hard. You know, and so the thing that like I always say is being successful, whether that's in business or mostly in business when I say this because not so much tied to the relationship, but being successful in business is 75% hard work, grit, determination, and the other 25% is just you pull it out of your ass as you go, somewhat luck, right? And I would argue that a relationship is quite opposite. A relationship is 100% hard work. Again, you can choose your hard, and there does have to be the intent behind that. But it's so funny because anything worth doing is worth doing well, and it's worth the effort. And you got to put in that effort for it to be successful, for there to be an ROI. Because without the effort, the ROI would not be as sweet. You know, and I would agree with you that the relationship I have with my wife to me is much more. Don't get me wrong, I love my 2 boys, but my wife is more important to me than my 2 boys. One day my boys are going to grow up and they're going to leave us. They're going to go find someone, they're going to marry them, and they're going to have their own family, but I'm always going to be with my wife, and that relationship is far more important than that with my kids. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And I hope that nobody takes that out of context, right? Where they take that clip and they're like, these men don't love their children. It's like, we love our children.
Not at all. Not at all.
We just think that prioritizing a relationship with our wife will actually serve our children even more.
Yes. In
Yeah.
fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll put it on my, there was a newspaper clipping from a long time ago. I don't know how I came across it, but it talked about the, and mind you, I'm younger, I'm 27. So I kind of grew up with this mentality where parents put their kids first. You have the helicopter parents, you have the kids who got whatever they want when they whined and things like that. And I was not raised that way, and I'll be damned if my boys are raised that way. But the newspaper clipping was something along the lines of like, if we prioritize the relationship between the husband and the spouse, and the kids understand that they are not the first priority, it would actually serve them better, because they would understand that now I'm not the most important thing around. There are other people that are more important than me. Serving others is more important than me. I now have a great example on how to treat my future spouse. I now have a great example on how to treat my future colleagues or my future business partners or whomever it is, right? And
Yeah.
knowing that they're not the most important thing serves them better in the long run. So I'll try and find it, and if I can find it, I'll put it on my story and tag you, because it's a good little read.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all agree we are living in a society that has probably the highest level of entitlement that we've ever seen. And I think a lot of that comes from the home and how you're
Yeah,
raised. Are you being raised by the parent, or are you being raised on the couch by a tablet? Are you
yeah,
being raised where you're being given everything that you whine for, or are you being raised where you are taught that you need to earn things that you desire to have? Those are all things that we intentionally do in our household. And like, we are bound and determined that we are going to raise contributing little members of society. Like, our daughters
yep,
are going to go out and have an impact and do amazing things, and they're not going to sit back and wait to be given. They're being taught to
yeah.
be givers, not takers. And again, it's all intentionally. And you asked me like about my relationship, and I'm telling you, like, the word is intention. I would like to kind of bring that to life a little bit with an example.
Yeah.
So right now, I was in St. Louis. I attended a conference there, and then from St. Louis, I'm now in Arizona. We are hosting an event. So for a total of 9 days, I am away from my home, which is the longest I've been away from my wife and my children. Um, and number one, I miss them like crazy when I'm gone. But another thing that I understand, and I really make sure to focus on, is what is my wife going to feel while I'm away? She's going to miss me, undoubtedly. She is going,
We'd
and for
hope.
me, it's like I miss
We, we'd
her, but I'm in a
we
very busy
we'd hope.
interactive setting. We hope, yes, we hope. I mean, she tells me when we FaceTime, so I hope that's true. But for me, yes, I miss her, but I'm away in a different setting where it's all new, new, new. So the brain is processing all these new, cool things. We're in this massive mansion right now. I'm meeting new people. I'm having conversations. I'm emceeing an event. Like, my time is going by like this. Where for her, I know that she is still in her usual setting, and there's just a
Yeah,
hole there. There's just Justin's not home. And I understand that that causes, those feelings of missing me, and like, just wishes I was there when you're operating with like that hole in your day a little bit. I also understand that whenever I'm not home, everything that I contribute to the household on a daily basis is not happening. Right? So she is caring for the household by herself, the house itself, the dishes, the breakfast, the dinners, the packing the lunches, the bathing our daughters, getting them ready for school, getting them on the bus on time. The dog, he needs to go out. Everything that she needs to do is like 2x whenever I'm gone. And I know that what that does, it increases the level of difficulty for her on a day-to-day basis while I'm gone. And whenever you increase the difficulty of something, typically what will happen is the emotions take a little bit of a downswing, where it's a little bit of,
yeah,
you're like, oh, this is chaotic. I'm stressed. I'm frustrated. The kids aren't listening. The dog won't stop barking. And everything just is, it increases whenever I'm not home, where she's tackling by herself. So I understand that. And I specifically and intentionally ask myself, what is she going to feel, and what is going to happen when I'm gone? And I know that everything that's going to be going on, the increased level of difficulty, her missing me, is going to cause for a downswing in the emotions. So I ask myself, what can I intentionally do to lessen that downswing into those, emotions that are negative in nature? And what can I do to make things easier and lessen that? So like before I left, what I did is I went and got a bunch of healthy pre-made meals that she would be able to just literally put into the oven, that she could feed our daughters with nutritious, good food, but she's not having to, spend all the time in the kitchen cutting up the food, all those things. I went and got her healthy snacks, because we all know at the end of a long, chaotic day, when you have done what you usually do plus what your husband has done, that you're probably going to finally sit down to decompress when the children are asleep, and you're probably going to be like, damn, I deserve that chocolate, or I deserve those chips or whatever. So I made sure that in the cupboard there was going to be something sweet but healthy. Like it'll help with the craving, but be healthy. My wife, the week before I left, she joined a coaching program for fitness. And she needed a box to do box jumps, to do Bulgarian split squats, all those things. So I knew that. And she'll go out any given day and she'll go and spend hundreds of dollars on her daughters. But whenever it comes to going to spend money on herself, she has a hard time doing it. There's like a wall that goes up where it's like, you can't spend this money. So she mentioned a couple of times that she needed to go and get herself a box. She wasn't going to get the box. So I went and got her a box. I put it together. And what I did before leaving is I went and hid it under my desk in my office where she wouldn't see it. And what I did is I wrote, 5 or 6 clues of how to get to that box. And I put them all through the house. The first one was like, I know you're going to miss me. I'm going to miss you too. Don't worry. Go to the washing machine where we wash our clothes through and through. So then she would go to the washing machine. That's where the next clue is. So I basically sent her on a scavenger hunt that led to going to find the box under my desk. And I had like a little card there with just expressing gratitude for her support and everything that I do, for taking care of, the house while I'm gone, and just letting her know, like, I love you and I appreciate you. So what that does is I intentionally thought of how she was going to feel, and then I took action on how to lessen that downswing of emotions by creating positive emotions. Like, what does she feel in that moment? Happiness. She got what she needed, first of all. The excitement of a surprise scavenger hunt out of the blue, because I texted her while I was already gone and away, and I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you go and look under the plant on the mantle in the fireplace in our bedroom? I think there's a little something there for you. And that's where the first clue was. So just think, you get that text, you're like, what is it? The everything spikes, the excitement, the curiosity, everything in that moment causes good, positive emotions. And there's the surprise of finding the box, the excitement of, going to find all the clues. Honestly, so what I did is I took her out of that downswing of emotions and I created positive emotions and took her out of it and created, and then she finds the box and she goes, she's probably sitting there going, that Justin. And then what does that cause? It causes gratitude, right? Where she's like, man, my husband did all this for me. He bought me the box that I need for my fitness program. She's feeling gratitude, and you can't be angry, sad, or frustrated when you're feeling and expressing gratitude.
That's a good one. Everyone take note. Take note, and yeah, that was a good one. We talked about that earlier this week, so I kind of had an idea that you were going to say that, but that's a good one. I think the every morning before I leave for work with my boys, I ask them if they're going to do or be 3 things every day. Are you going to be happy? Are you going to be kind? And are you going to work hard? And the reason why I do that with them, I've stopped doing it with my wife because she just makes it into a joke. It frustrates me. But I do it with my boys. And the reason why I do it with my boys, again, is because I feel like more people need to be kind. We need to have more gratitude. We need to be happy. That's a choice. We can choose to be happy, right? And we can let those emotions take precedence over other emotions that we might be feeling, and we can choose our outcome, right? And we need to work hard. And I feel like that was a good cap onto what was a really good conversation about what you do and how you help people and how they can help other people, but then also on the back end, how you're implementing and how you're taking that intentionality, if that's even a word, how you're taking that intention and bringing it into your family. And I appreciate that, Justin. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
It was a great conversation. Thank you for being on the show. For those listening, again, we do everything but slack off here on Slackin' Off, and I want to thank everyone for listening. If you have any questions for either of us, let us know. I'll drop links in the bios, and then we appreciate you guys for listening. Thanks again, Justin.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Hope you got at least one golden nugget you can go and apply in your life and make your life better.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in to Slackin' Off with Brady Slack.